we are back here in HPL. We just saw Greensheep fall to an early game and a lot of early aggression here from ErA. He's down 0-1, but you know what? He's kind of used to that, Nathan.
Yeah, he was definitely behind in his first match, but he pulled off a reverse sweep. It's coming into it. I would venture to say his game plan is not to go down 0-2 and then win 3 straight. But something that ErA has done is he's thrown aggression at him very early on, so really putting Greensheep to the test to see if he can adapt to any sort of styles that's going into this one. He played Mech Mage in his first game. I think that's sort of a nod to the fact that ErA has been playing, sort of later game centric decks and trying to focus there. But game 2 is getting underway with Greensheep and ErA. Let's see how they adjusted to that first game.
Yeah, let's see if Greensheep just continues. And yep, there we go. He's just gonna. This looks like Space Paladin to me.
Just no surprise whatsoever. I think that Leper Gnome is just in every single deck that Greensheep actually builds.
I think Leper Gnome is just one of the best cards in the game.
It does get in 4 points of damage for 1 mana very often, and you couple that with Shield and Minibot. Blessing of Kings looks pretty good on that one. Even Avenging Wrath in this deck. He's doing anything he can to just push damage at this point, and we're going to see exactly how ErA has adapted to this. ErA, that's a spellbender in his hand.
That is a Blessing of Kings in Greensheep's hand. We have a setup here, boys, for what could be a huge, huge turning point in the game.
I mean, I don't know how ErA arrived at this point, but Spellbender could actually single-handedly win this game.
Just really embracing the HPL format here. You can play with anything at any time, and you know what? He's ready for these things that Greensheep are going to be throwing at him.
Yeah, so Greensheep, Hero Power will kind of keep ErA's development in check here. Wow, Blood Knight's coming into hand. If ErA does not use Hero Power this turn, he could be in major trouble.
Yeah, the Blood Knight, if he comes into play, is going to actually be a 6/6 off of this Divine Shield here. Plus, if this Blessing of Kings, I just want to see the Blessing of Kings get stolen on the Spellbinder. I've never seen anything like that happen in Hearthstone before, and I just want to see it.
I actually would be really surprised if he didn't coin out this Leper Gnome, given that he just drew Blood Knight, or even if just Blood Knight was in his deck. He wants to occupy ErA's mana into the Leper Gnome instead of on the Divine Shield, and then utilize the Blood Knight afterwards. I mean, just the fact that it's in his deck should be very telling of the strategy he wants to use to kind of get to this point. Mana Wyrm's picked up, so not the worst card in the world, but again, ErA's very likely to be facing down a 6/6 Blood Knight here. This Fire Blast is so important. Yep, the trap has been set by Greensheep. This Blood Knight is going to be a massive threat. ErA does have Frostbolt, so he can kind of keep it in check. That is very interesting that he's chosen to go with the Argent Squire here instead of the Blood Knight. This is peculiar. I mean, it looks to me like he really wants to utilize the Blessing of Kings.
I think he's just playing around Fireball a little bit as well. He doesn't want to just, invest a ton into this Blood Knight here, lose a Divine Shield, and then have it immediately fireball from ErA, because ErA has been very controlling so far this game, so you have to believe his hand's a little on the slower side and may have something like Fireball in it.
Wow, going to invest into killing the Silverhand Recruit instead, so another opportunity for Greensheep to use Blood Knight, chooses to forego it. He thinks that killing minions is much more important this time. I certainly can't blame him for that. Water Elemental is very frightening, and he does get a 6/6 off of this anyway, so, not the end of the world. In a position like this, ErA might feel like he has to do something to take care of that Shielded Minibot.
Yeah, and it looks like he's going to actually Frostbolt. Yeah, I was going to say, the cursor went over the other minion here, but I was like, I don't know how you don't Frostbolt the 6/6 here and then trade into it. Yeah, this seems like a very clean and easy turn for ErA, and if Greensheep can't answer it, that thing's going to cause a lot of havoc here over the rest of this game.
Yeah, still very surprised that he hadn't played the Blood Knight earlier. I mean, when you play these aggressive strategies, we talked a lot about risk versus reward. It seems right up Greensheep's alley to kind of just plop it out there and say, look, if you got a fireball, you got a fireball, and if you don't, you have to face down a 6/6 and do something about it. Gonna go with Blood Knight here. And so he has given ErA a little bit more time to find something like Fireball, but he doesn't have it quite yet. He's going to have to settle for this Unstable Portal and hope for the best.
Oh, man, I love Unstable Portal. Let's see what ErA gets. Ooh, a Curator
wow,
Mage.
that's actually
that
super important right now because he's got that secret in his hand. This will allow him to also Hero Power now. So Flamewaker has another chance to hit Knife Juggler. It does. And now suddenly Greensheep's in a very peculiar spot. He's going to be able to push 6 points of damage here, but he has no idea what this secret is. South Sea deckhands are applying 0 pressure right now because he doesn't have a weapon. This is looking potentially disastrous for Greensheep.
Yeah, this does not look good for Greensheep. This is not a good consecration turn. These South Sea deckhands aren't doing anything. He's pretty much got 3 cards in his hand that don't do a lot in this game here. Everything is coming up ErA here in this game.
Yeah, gonna have to see exactly how he chooses to move forward. I mean, it's not a very good consecration turn, but he really might not have that many options available to him otherwise. So, how he chooses to go forward from here, At this point, I have to believe that pushing for damage is pretty much his hope, and then hope he draws something like True Silver Champion, maybe that Avenging Wrath that's in there, get some lucky hits off of those missiles, and hope to finish the game from there, because I don't see any way he's recovering this board position, given what's in his deck.
Not only do I not see him recovering this board position, but it's about to get worse for him. ErA's going to be able to control this entire board next turn with his attacks, and then be able to play Archmage Antonidas into play.
Yeah.
And that's going to be huge and probably unbeatable from Greensheep's deck.
Yeah, so we'll see if Greensheep is going to try to recover this board position. Still could attack into Flamewaker.
I have to believe that he's going to.
Gosh, I mean, it's so rough to do it. He's just going straight for the dome, man.
ErA
I like
is
it.
at 13, so maybe he's hoping to draw Avenging Wrath into some other cards and really get ErA from here.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit punishing to Greensheep, though. Again, ErA has some fantastic attacks in this board position, and it looks like he's pretty much weathered the storm. Again, Greensheep has 2 copies of Southsea Deckhand in his hand, so if he doesn't draw something like True Silver Champion, I mean, he's looking at an extremely weak turn 7, turn 8, is it? Yeah, turn 7 is what he's got going for him here. So he's got a Noyatron to protect him from some attacks, but you know, he doesn't want to just throw away the Southsea Deckhands. He wants to get the charge damage from that. And in the face of Flamewaker, it is very dangerous to just be playing a bunch of 1-health minions.
Yeah, it has got to be the worst feeling in the world to have 2 Southsea Deckhands in your hand, no weapon, and a Flamewaker on your opponent's side of the board. This is a bad situation for Greensheep that is just getting worse and worse every turn. This Noyatron will help stem the bleeding a little bit and protect his Southsea Deckhands, but it's not going to do a lot in getting him to win this game.
Yeah, it looks like ErA has all but completely recovered this game now. I mean, still some threats to deal with on the board, so maybe Fireball's going to be his choice here. Try to get those extra procs off of a Flamewaker. Oh, he even picks up Frostbolt now. So he's got plenty of ways to clear what's going on here, and I have to suspect he's going to continue to impose his will on the board here and really make sure stuff's going on. Meanwhile, Greensheep's also got the secret to think about, and I don't think that he has any idea what it is at this point.
There's no way to know that if he knows that it's a Spellbinder or not. It's not something you see every day. Now, ErA is making an interesting choice here. He's going to Frostbolt the minion here. Oh, and get a perfect.
Yeah, just going to Fireball the face. Had plenty of opportunities to pick those off, but just going to go for sheer pressure at this point. Greensheep's got about 2 turns to make something happen here. Blessing of Might is 0 help at this point. Every single minion that Greensheep plays is going to be dealt with from this point forward, and he's only got 1 turn left to find the damage he needs. And with ErA at 13, I just don't see it happening.
No, he's going to be able to use this hero power play Archmage Antonidas here and push in 6 damage to Greensheep. I don't know if there's a card in his deck that can get him out of the situation. Looks like Greensheep's going to be down an early 2-0 hole here. And, you know, we've seen him do the reverse sweep again. Do you think he has another one in it?
Well, he's going to have another one in it if he wants to pick up this match, because this one is done and over. ErA actually not showing the Archmage Antonidas here either. Doesn't want Greensheep to know that maybe he's got the late game power threats as well. Maybe Greensheep will swap over to a different strategy, not be prepared for something like Archmage. But another win here from ErA, you know, able to get, again, strict control over the board very early on, and then impose his will upon Greensheep. He didn't do it in the way that I had expected him to, which is to play things like Armorsmith, more traditional control style elements. Instead, he's been focusing on using a mage deck that wants to utilize Flamewaker, stuff like Mad Scientist, just early game threats that are very efficient, and Flamewaker is one of the best ways to control a bunch of 1-health minions, which is exactly what Greensheep likes to play.
Yeah, you've seen Flamewaker just do an absolute decimating job on Greensheep's minions, and you've seen this tempo mage deck just do a ton of work here. It's interesting to see that he queued it up twice against Greensheep here. Maybe he thinks that is the kind of thing he needs to beat Greensheep's aggression. And you know what? It's been getting the work done for him here. He's up 2-0.
Yeah, it's worked beautifully so far. Greensheep has queued up 2 unconventional aggressive strategies, and frankly, I think that's what he should have done coming into this match, but ErA, once again, he's 1 step ahead of his opponents as far as the queuing up strategies are concerned. So Greensheep going to have to go to the drawing board here and figure something out, because he needs 3 straight if he's going to win this match. Guys, get out there on Twitter, use that hashtag HPL, let everyone know who you're supporting. Can Greensheep complete a second reverse sweep, or is ErA going to take this one potentially 3-0 as I had predicted and Tannen did not? When we come back, we're going to get into game 3. Greensheep's on down 2-0, ErA's on match point. Don't go anywhere, guys. You're watching Hearthstone on PvP Live.